Hi guys, welcome back to a new episode of All Things Marriage.
We're your hosts, Derek
and Crystal Robinson.
And so, as always, thank you for all the love and support.
Yes, we're glad that you joined us this week. So we're gonna just go ahead and jump right in it. I guess.
Yeah.
Well, how was your week? Let's start there.
My week was wonderful. It was so thought-provoking and just
I feel like that wasn't the truth.
It was weekly, full of days and hours and minutes.
Well, you didn't tell a lie there. So anyway, well, my week has been wonderful.
Right.
Just been on a high with the Lord.
Okay.
Excited about the things that He has, planned for not only you and I, but for you all.
Right.
So let's rejoice. But yeah, so let's go ahead and jump right in. I just wanted to do that. We're going to jump right in. We're going to talk about partnership this week.
Oh.
Yes, we're going to talk about partnership. And not only with one another as, husband and wife or as male and female, but partnership and how that relationship works with the relationships around us.
Okay.
So, whether it's in-laws, whether it's best friends, whether it's siblings, all of that stuff. So we're going to talk about all of that. And I think it's going to be very interesting.
Cool beans.
Yeah, to see your thoughts, my thoughts, and to hear your thoughts as well, guys.
Cool beans. Yeah.
So yeah, partnership. So in marriage, because clearly, in marriage there's a partnership.
Right.
That's one of the foundational relationships that you have. Is a partnership. It's like we're going into business together.
Right. Okay.
It's literally like we're going into business together. I bring something, you bring something. That we both need to make sure that our business is successful, our relationship is successful. Most people that know you know that you like to talk a lot.
That's not true.
He's
lies.
People that know him, that's been around with him, know that he can be wordy.
Shade.
It's not really shade. It may sound like shade, but it's not. I love that he's passionate about things, that he talks to me, to other people about those things. So yeah, he's a teacher.
Make it sound good.
He's a teacher at heart. So he likes to talk about the things and express himself about the things that he enjoys, that he has revelation about, whether it's the word, whether it's what's the word for engineering, I guess, computers, whether it's something random that he's learned throughout the day. He enjoys
#D&D.
Right, he enjoys talking about it, even though I don't understand it. He enjoys talking about it.
Now y'all see why this is shade.
No, it's not. It's not shade. It's the honest truth.
Right.
Whereas I can talk a lot. Clearly, I ramble, I babble sometimes. See, there's shade to me. I threw it out. But did you see that face? But I can sit in the house and just chill in silence.
As can I.
He can. He has his moments, his moods. But anyway,
right.
We bring something.
Neither here nor there.
We bring something to the table to help our partnership grow. And that partnership is developed in the dating phase,
True.
As well as when you get married. It's developed. You see each other's pros and cons. You see the values. You see the potential that your partner can bring to this company that you're trying to build. And you say, how does that work with what I have? And how do what I have work with what he has, so that we can make this thing work?
Right. So So for me, I mean, it's the same thing. Relationship partnerships or intimate partnerships. It's again similar to what you said. It's all about the give and take, right? I shouldn't constantly be taking and you giving, right? But
and vice versa,
right?
Yeah,
both of us should be constantly giving, right?
It's 100-100.
Right, yeah. So we should both be constantly giving, constantly pouring into our situation. Whatever, and we've talked about it in part before, the understanding of and the idea of how can you rub off on me such that it makes me a better person. It propels me forward into my future in a positive way, and without taking away from who you are as a person, and vice versa. How can I do the same, right? And the idea of finding that person who you can help to grow and nurture. It's not, and it's not that like this person is a project for you, and how can I make them better? But it's that natural sense of us being around each other, us being together, sparks. What's the word? Not interest. Inspiration, if you will.
Sparks, motivation.
Yeah.
Sparks. I don't know.
Sparks motivation and sparks interest and inspiration in such a way that, hey, I see that this person has a drive for, I don't know, music. So how can I help you be better be better with your music? I see that you really, really love, the arts, or, love technology or whatever. How can I motivate that thing? How can I help you nurture that thing? What can I contribute to that aspect to help you be what it is that you're trying to be in that? And so for me, that's a key component to the partnership aspect as far as the intimacy goes, because as far as an intimate relationship, rather, because it's not just about the intimacy as far as sexuality is concerned.
That's a good thing, because we hear intimacy and we always think something physical or sexual.
We synonymize it with sexuality. Intimacy and sexuality is definitely different. Mind you, there is a level of partnership, and that those same rules and that same thought process applies to the sexuality. How can I, again, the mindset being, how can I help you learn and grow and explore your sexuality in a safe, comfortable, positive light?
You know what I'm saying? Without breaking our vows.
Without breaking our vows, and without violating you and your morals and your standards and your, what makes you you. So it goes hand in hand. I mean, it works on the sexual aspect, but it works on the business side of things. It works on the educational side of things, emotional, spirituality. It works in all of that. It's the give and take, the push and pull, the yin and yang of how we maneuver together as a unit, and not so much as individuals.
Because a partnership should help both of us. It whether if you're in business with somebody and it's just business, like you go and get a contract and you are developing your products and stuff like that, it shouldn't be that I'm benefited in this situation over you.
And you taking all the losses.
It should never be that case. In marriage, it definitely shouldn't be in that case. We should be building one another up, so the actions and the activities that we're involved in should render us being built up. In some way, emotionally, physically, emotionally.
Really good.
Emotional already.
Really good example of that is, I'm not sure how many of you guys out there watch it, but I mean, pretty popular show, Shark Tank, where you have these people come in with a business proposition and they're looking for financial aid for their business. But in every instance, the sharks they're like, okay, well, sure, if I believe in this, if I think this thing will go, or this thing will grow and produce and be successful with the right pushes and pulls, I'm willing to throw $250,000 at you, $500,000, quarter, $750,000, a full million. I'm willing to throw that money behind you, but I want a certain amount of stake in the company. I want 25% of the company, 50% of the company. I want, this percentage of the profits up to my investment, and then 10% after that, because I believe in what it is that you're trying to do, but I don't want to be the only one absorbing losses here. I want, because there's a level of risk that you're taking in handing me over this portion of your company, but there's also a level of risk that I'm taking in handing you over my money. And so it's that give and take, it's that push and pull, understanding that, hey, both of us are in this. There's opportunity for risk for both of us, but together there's a greater opportunity for gain, right? And so that's we should take that mindset when we're looking at our personal relationships, just like we would with our business relationships. But outside relationships, stemming into.
Well, I just want to add this piece to it first before we go into that part.
Sure.
We're comparing partnership in our marriage to partnerships as in businesses. But one of the things that separates the two is that when we partner with somebody in a business and something fails, if the business fails or something goes wrong or we have issues,
the partnership
usually dissolves. But in marriage, that's another story. We have to figure out ways to repair it, whether it's, okay, let's work from the issues that we had and build it back up, because this partnership shouldn't die. It should always be till death do us part. If you're looking at it versus what the Bible says, or what we usually are taught or raised up on. Till death do us part. So we look at the things that failed and we work on those things and to make the partnership better. We figure out what things can we just cut as losses, and yes, that's something that we needed to get rid of, or is this something that we seriously need to go to counseling for, whether it's a marriage and family therapist, whether it's a pastor or a spiritual advisor. We need to work on those things to make the partnership work. There are times when the partnership does not work, but we want to focus first and mainly on how can we fix it to make this partnership work.
Which actually is a pretty solid segue into the outside relationships and outside partnerships flowing into your marital or your intimate relationships, your intimate partnership. Because a lot of times, it's sad to say, but a lot of times it's those outside interactions, those outside partnerships that your intimate partner really had nothing to do with, that may even predate them, that can create strain and stress on your relationship. A really good one, a really important one, is the concept of in-laws, what happens when, because that's a partnership, your family dynamic is a partnership that has been established and built and grown. Let's just say you get married at 25, then your family dynamic is a partnership that's been brewing and growing and building and maturing for 25 years. And then you marry this person, and now you have a brand new partnership that you're trying to essentially incorporate into this 25-year business, this 25-year partnership. But your brand new partnership realistically is supposed to take precedence over your 25 years. So what is that?
Leave and cleave.
So what is that? So what does that dynamic look like?
Yeah.
How do you balance, okay, well, my mom loves to have family dinner every Thursday night. But my wife wants date night on Thursdays. How do you balance? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that sounds pretty, pretty like almost childlike, right? Like, well, I mean, it's just every other one, whatever. But like, how do you balance that? And as as it grows, how do you balance that? How do you determine, vacations? What does family vacations look like? Do I vacation with your family, with my family, or do we just say forget everybody? How do you do holidays?
The checks and balances.
How does that look? So what does that look like in your mind, or what are the factors that go into it?
Right. It's for us. I think it's we'll see when we get close. Right. Or because we definitely tried to do. I think we originally was just like, well, we'll do like Christmas with one family and Thanksgiving with another family. But that didn't work.
That didn't pan out too good.
And not even honestly for our in-laws, like they were trying to get us, because they definitely understand. So, but we just ended up going to both usually. Like Thanksgiving has been one that we just either share with one or the other, or we have Friendsgiving, which I love. But I think it's all about communicating with one another and coming up with a solution that works for us. Because regardless of what our families say or want, we tend to come together and say this is better for us in cases of holidays. When I don't think we've had necessarily anything serious pop up where it was like, no, my family is because X, Y, and Z. But there are cases where well, I haven't seen, because I don't see my family that often. Because of distance where we live. Like mostly my family is back home from where I live, and then my sister is in North Carolina, and so we've been 5 hours away at one time. So I'm not going to see you that often.
And with that, for us, the compromise or the solution was, since oftentimes we're with my family every weekend, it only made sense to prioritize being with her family for major holidays and things, which I mean, and that works for us. But more so than the how do you spend the holiday, because whatever. That's
I think another childlike. I'm sorry, guys. I think I have something in my eye, but that's more on the set of kind of a childlike thing, because holidays, the major holidays, is only 2 days out of the whole year. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if I don't see you, then I'll try to see you some other time. I love y'all. But it's partnerships with raising children, those things, like which we haven't gotten any yet, but I believe watching other people and experiencing other things, when it comes to children and raising our children, my mom raised us one way, but me and my husband are going to get together and raise our children the way we feel as though, and I'm going to have that conversation if it's an issue. Of no, mom, we don't do that. No, dad, we don't do that. We do it like this. Now, and
that's that usually from what I've seen anyway. That usually becomes a thing when it comes to like disciplining the children or the lack thereof. Typically grandparents are a lot more lenient with the grandkids than they ever were with us, right? And so it's just like, we'll say Lil Johnny. Lil Johnny kind of need his tail beat right now, but then grandma like, don't beat him. And so
I'm gonna need you to slap.
And it's just like, all right, ma, it's time for you to go in the other room, because at this point, and it is not a matter of disrespect, but it's, hey, this is my child. I have to raise them. Or moreover, mother-in-law, this is my child, and I'm raising them, and you can't undermine what I have going on, because then you're teaching the child to disrespect.
Especially in front of the child. It's kind of like the same. I wouldn't necessarily be like, Derek, don't you do that in front of our children. Because, again, that's undermining. Now, if, as my mother or my father, if you take me to the side after, whatever, and be like, did you have to do that? And we can have a conversation. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to change. We're going to, change the way we discipline. But you still are the mother and the father of me or Derek. And you, or your mother, father, you're still teaching. I think our parents are still teaching us stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I think our mother and fathers are still teaching us things because we look at them as authoritative figures. That relationship has been established already.
Exactly.
So, give us it's in a different way though. It's more mentorship than I'm your father or mother telling you that this is what you got to do.
Exactly. I like that. After a point, it becomes a matter of mentorship as opposed to instructor. The parent-child dynamic is more so teacher-student or instructor versus student, whereas once you reach that adult range, and even beyond that, once you're in your own marital status, you know what I'm saying, your own relationships and things, it's less of a you do what I say because I said it, and more of a hey, you need to consider this thing, and I feel it's really, really important that parents understand that, that siblings understand that, aunts and uncles understand that, as well as the individuals that are in the partnership, that are in the relationship. Like, I can't, because this is my wife, I can't hold my mother's, and I say mother because typically with men, it's it's what mom says, you know what I'm saying? Like their mom and typically with females is dad, you know what I'm saying? Of course, depending on your dynamic or whatever. But your family structure. But I can't take what my mom says or what my dad says with such weight and such emphasis that I'm disregarding her thoughts and her wishes and her opinions on things. That's gonna be a problem. And so for me, when dealing with the partnership aspect, we really need to hone in on and focus in on how to address conflict. How to really deal with conflict as it pertains to my relationship versus things outside of my relationship. And again, I say if my wife and we have our home and we run our home a certain way, if my sister comes in, my mother comes in, my grandmother comes in, her family comes in, someone comes in, and it's just like, and again, really trivial example. Why someone comes in, why do you have the knives in this drawer? They should be over here. Something really trivial that makes no difference, except this is how we've decided to run our home. If the knives go in the drawer right next to the sink, then it's not for you to come in because you see it differently as my mom and try to pull mom rank and say, well, no, you need to put it over top of the stove because it's easier to grab. No, sorry,
you can pull rank outside the door.
Really. I appreciate you, and again, we don't want to get disrespectful.
It's no love lost. It's just we have to all get in the understanding. This is one of the reasons why we started the podcast. It's because we really have to learn the dynamic of husband and wife.
Exactly.
And family, honestly. Because the husband and the wife are the head of their house. The husband, let's be biblical, the husband is the head of his household. But together, they are a partnership.
Right.
And the way they set to run their house and raise their children,
Right.
is just that.
Right.
It's
right.
how they choose to together, not he.
Right.
Or, I want to run it this way, so that's how I want to run it. Now, there are things of, the matters of, like, little trivial things, again, like you said, like, you'll get the gas on Friday.
Right.
Or you'll get the gas on Sunday, because that's how you feel. Me, I don't care, just as long as it's gas in the car. So I'm not going to fuss and say, why don't you put the gas in the car? No, if he says he's going to put the gas in the car on whatever day, then fine.
Whatever.
If I say I'm going to do the laundry on Wednesday nights at 9, I don't think he has a problem with that. Unless I'm asking him to do the laundry and he says, well, the laundry is best to be done on whatever days.
Right.
And vice versa with the gas. If he asks me to put the gas in the car, then I'm going to put the gas in the car whatever day I feel is necessary or better for my schedule. Only if, and I'll put this in there, if I know he needs the car the next day, and it will be really trifling if I don't put gas in the car today, so he can have gas in it tomorrow.
Right.
So different things like that. We have to understand the dynamic of marriage and the roles of the husband and the wife together as one.
Right. And I'll say this, on the biblical side of things, that is one of the most important things, understanding that the first ministry, the first dynamic, the first structure that was created in the Bible was the first social structure, was the structure of husband and wife, was the structure of the family. Not even the family, but of the husband and wife. Bible moment. Genesis 1:26 says, and God said, let us make men in our image and in our likeness, and let them have dominion.
Yep.
The operative word being that is them, meaning the combination of mankind, right? So dominion. So when he says let them have dominion can only come when there is union. Yeah. When there is unity. Yeah. And then what did he create? He created both male and female. So who is the them? Man and woman. So when man and woman come together in unity and in wholeness and in oneness, then there is dominion, there is rulership. Right? And so anything that and then later down in the Bible, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. Yeah. God made man and woman in unity to have rulership. And so no one can come along and disrupt that. If you are disrupting that, then you're anti-God, right? You're going against God's structure. You're going against God's pure and perfect design. Right. And so when, again, and I say when a father or a mother tries to interject themselves into a marriage because I'm going to protect my daughter, I'm going to protect my son, you're actually directly contrasting God's perfect design. And
I like how I'm glad you said that, because even when it's the husband or the wife pulling in outside forces, exactly, and I made a status about this the other day, when you dishonor your spouse, you dishonor God. Exactly. Because because we're one when we come husband and wife, and we're that 3-string cord with Jesus, with God rather, or whichever one you want to say, God, husband, wife. Right. When we start trying to unravel that and put somebody in the extra cords in, we're saying we know better than God, and that's not right. Right.
Now, again, the caveat to that being, you have to be joined in God. You have to be in that 3-strand cord. That's correct. With God, and so if the husband is being abusive to the wife or vice versa, or you're stepping out on each other and these types of things, then that is not joined in unity. First and foremost, that's not joined in unity, and secondly, that's not joined with God. And so then for a mom or a dad or whomever to step in and say, hey, this isn't healthy, that's a different story.
Yeah, so we say mom and dads, but it's really anybody who's on the outside of the husband and the wife that are interjecting or that we're pulling in.
That includes children.
This is one of the ones that really gets me.
Right.
Because I understand that you love your child. You know, you are the protector of your child. We are the protector of our children. We should let no harm come to them. We should nurture them.
Right.
We should build them up and strengthen them, because we need to teach them in the way that they should go.
Right.
That they should not depart from it. That they can enter society and be, you know, productive people in society. That they will build and grow their communities. But when they leave, because they need to leave, not even they got to leave, they need to leave.
Right.
Our husband and wife union is still there.
Right. And you shouldn't put so much stress and strain on the husband and wife unity, trying to make sure the kids are okay, or not even stress and strain, so much neglect towards the husband and wife partnership.
Right. We neglect our partner's feelings because I want to do this with my child, and I want to do that with my child, and I can't do this and that because I feel like I'm abandoning my child, and it's just
I'm too tired for this. It's too much stress.
No. Pump the brakes. We need to reevaluate.
Them kids can go to bed. Like, send them now. Here comes the grandma and the grandpa. Send them to grandma and grandpa house.
And I want to go ahead and get that out the way when people say, "Well, y'all don't have any kids yet, so y'all don't know." All those, and I've already told them, all those people that ask, you know, when we having children, they coming to your house.
Coming to your house.
Our husband and wife union can be silent.
Right. That was a pretty sizable tangent. But the point of the matter is, like, all of these things can be distractions. Again, in-laws, friends and family, like friends, work, church.
Oh, let's go ahead and talk about that one.
Okay, but we gotta make it quick.
Church is God, family, then church.
Right. Church
and God and church are not the same.
Are not one and the same.
No.
You have to again, the first social structure that God created was the structure of husband and wife. And then after husband and wife, introduction to children. And it isn't until generations later that he introduces the concept of community-wide worship or church. So if we're talking, I mean, Adam and Eve, husband and wife, then you have Cain, Abel, and all those that followed.
All of them.
Because it's a gang of them. Was family. And then you don't introduce community worship until Abraham. So there's significance in that, and that you have to get the family dynamic right first, and get that ordered and in proper partnership and partner relationship first before you can ever really think about trying to we'll say run a ministry. You know what I mean?
Work in a ministry. Because it's the scripture of if your brother or sister have aught with you, you go to them. Even though this is my husband, this is my brother in the Lord.
Right.
It sounds tricky, but that's my brother in the Lord. Right. And if we have aught with each other, we double time because we married and we brother and sister in the Lord. So if we're not on one accord here, and I try to go to church and I'm in the ministry and I'm working and I'm doing what I'm doing for the Lord, and it's just like the Lord saying, no, go back to your husband because you got some issues to get together.
And the reason why it's God, family, church, how can I know how to mend wounds and all this brokenness with the person that sits on the pew next to me that I see once a week, when I can't fix an issue that we got going on? You know what I'm saying? How can I learn how to forgive or repent towards my congregation member, and I can't tell my child I'm sorry because when I made a mistake with them, and even beyond that, I can't associate with her properly if I don't know my relationship with God.
Yeah.
If I can't come together with God and commune with God and understand that dynamic, then I'm always going to throw our dynamic out of whack, right? And so we have to understand, again, it's the importance of partnership. We have to understand we are to become partners or joint heirs with Christ, number one. And then when we get that dynamic under control and within the box that it belongs in, and it's neat and tight together, then we can introduce husband-wife relationship. And then you get the husband-wife dynamic down pat, then you can introduce parent-child dynamic. And then it's just like, okay, now we have a good old small community. Let me expand that and incorporate everyone else. Because I understand where everyone fits in, how everyone fits in into this neat little package.
And it does not mean that you're not gonna, because people can hear that and be like, oh, well, there's a point that we're gonna have everything together, or Derek and Crystal, you have everything together. And it's like, no, we fall. Clearly. But like he said, that forgiveness piece, that heart and desire to do right. And to say, okay, Lord, let me take a step back because something is out of, out of order here. Something is not going right. Let me check with God. Let me check in my marriage. Let me check with my children. Then let me check in the church. And we go step by step. When we understand the order, we go step by step. And then we figure out, okay, that's the problem. This Lord created me a clean heart and renew a right spirit in me. So we go back to God, we get instructions, and then we work on whatever the issue is. And we repeat. Because we're
lather, rinse, repeat.
we're gonna come into issues all the time within our partnership. Because we have emotions, we have feelings, we have thoughts and desires and dreams and goals and all of that good stuff. People come in our lives, whether it's in-laws, whether it's friends, jobs, school, whatever it may have you, that gives us different perspectives and understandings, and even reading the word, well, I didn't think this at first, but then when I read this, different things like that we're going to have to constantly repeat. Go to God, then I go to my marriage, and we work things and work it out so that we'll be in agreement, and then I pour it into my children. And then I pour it into my church or my community, or other family members. So we have to definitely understand the dynamic of the partnership with God, honestly. Then our partnership with our husband and our wives. Or wording is hard, guys, so sorry. Our partnership with one another, our partnership with our children, with our family, and with our church. So that was a good. I didn't even ravel all of that, but then we got to this part. So it's a partnership all the way down the
way down the line. And this is a topic, honestly, that we're definitely gonna have to address multiple times, right? Because I mean, there's a lot to unravel with it. To go into detail of the actual marital piece of the partnership, and then a little bit more detail of what the family dynamic looked like with the children piece. So there's a lot of pieces to it. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of a wrap for today. At least for now.
So let us know what y'all thought. Any questions? Again, y'all can hit the comment section. Please share and like this video.
Yes. And
if you're new, don't like it, you can thumbs down, but don't do that.
Don't do that. Right. And if you're new, then definitely hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications and updates on all of our new content coming out. This has been All Things Marriage, and see you next time.
And also, we getting a new president and vice president today.
I can't.
Kamala Harris, I got my pearls on for you, baby.
Okay.
Go ahead. All right.